This week on The Watchman, it's Israel's first line of defense against the Iranian regime's forces in Syria. Yet the Golan Heights is also home to incredible history, high-tech, and some of the most beautiful landscapes in all of Israel.
We know there are prophets that say that when the Jews come back to the land, it will start blossoming. And you see how when the early Zionist pioneers start coming here, suddenly something's waking up here. And after centuries of there's nothing here, suddenly the place is flourishing.
See why the Golan Heights is an essential part of Israel's past, present, and future. That's this week against Iran's terror army in Syria. The Israeli Defense Minister Naftali Bennett recently said that Israel will not stop striking Iran and its proxies in Syria until Iranian forces leave that country altogether. And all that stands between the Jewish state and the murderous forces of the Iranian regime in Syria is the Golan Heights. So, the Golan is a crucial security buffer. President Trump acknowledged that in 2019 when he formally recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. But the Golan means much more than security. It's been an irreplaceable part of Israel's history and culture since the times of the Bible. We recently visited an ancient synagogue in the Golan Heights that's been reconstructed and is bringing to life the amazing history of the Jewish people in that region. Take a look.
Eric, let's go inside. Lots to see.
Let's take a look. I can't wait. I've heard so much about this place, Yaakov, and now I am here.
Let's see history in our own eyes.
Yes. Wow. Unbelievable. And so well preserved and restored.
Yep.
Just amazing. And look at this.
Right.
This is probably the highlight.
This is the highlight. I would say, when the first archaeologists came to this site, we're talking about the late 1800s.
Yeah.
And then along the years, people kept on coming. There was a big argument. Is this a Jewish place or not? And we're now standing in the synagogue. And a synagogue in Hebrew is Bet Knesset, which means the house of gathering. This is the heart of the community. This is where everyone meets, 3 times a day, of course, on the weekend. So this is really the heart of the village. And 2 main things prove to us that this is a synagogue. One, the direction of the prayer. Okay, we're now standing towards Jerusalem.
Yes.
And the second thing, this is the Torah Ark. We have here menorahs on it. We see different Jewish symbols.
Clearly Jewish.
So you understand this is Jewish.
Yeah.
Now, just understand, this was a pile of stone. And several, I would say, crazy archaeologists said there's something here. They put little chips in every stone on the pile, and they were able to create a 3D image of where each piece goes. What this place looked like 1,500 years ago when it was destroyed by an earthquake and the Jews had to leave this village. And Here we are, 20 years after they began.
Yeah.
We're standing here. This is what it looked, almost what it looked like 1,500 years ago. And we're standing here. And for me, it's always very moving to stand here as, a Jew, as a Golan resident, and understand I'm standing here. We have bar mitzvah celebrations here. We have weddings here.
Right.
Every group I have here, we come to pray here. And you're standing praying in front of the arch, and your forefathers were praying here just thousands of years ago.
Yeah, Yaakov, that's amazing. What's also incredible is that where we are standing inside right now, not too long ago, this was rubble. And to be restored bit by bit, block by block, pillar by pillar is just amazing. Give us a little bit more information on the relevance and significance of the Ark and what happened here with the Torah in this section of the synagogue.
So first of all, what you just said, I think, is maybe the essence of Israel. You have history and you have innovation, right? A very vibrant, innovative culture, and it comes together here. The innovation is what is able to create the restoration of this place. Yeah. When you pray in a synagogue, so the synagogues, back then the whole community would sit around. So they can see each other. It's a little bit different than what we see in some of the synagogues, different traditions today. But this is where the Torah scrolls were.
Wow.
And twice a week, and then on Sabbath you read from the Torah scrolls, the weekly portion. So everyone is praying towards this direction. This specific project wouldn't have happened if not for the personal support of the Prime Minister of Israel, who came here himself for the day they reopened the synagogue. I told you he has a lot of respect for the Golan. He has a very deep connection.
Sure.
And you know, thousands of visitors are coming here every month because, you know, you can touch history here.
Yeah.
And I'd like to just share with you one more important thing which personally inspires me. Let's talk about who restored this place. Yeah. One of the archaeologists, his name is Yeshu Drey. And he's a very famous archaeologist in Israel. But one thing people don't know about him is that he is one of the brave fighters of the 1973 Yom Kippur War. He was there on the front line facing the mass Syrian attack, and he was there fighting with his fellow paratroopers, and he comes back decades later, you know, to the land he protected and almost lost his life for, and he brings, you know, the Jewish life, the Jewish history back to life here.
Amazing. As you said, Yaakov, look, there were some fierce battles here on the Golan in 67 and 73. Wow, that is amazing. Hey, last question. Number one, can you just hammer the point home some more that there was always Jewish life here in the land of Israel? Yes, the temple was destroyed in AD 70. Yes, after the Bar Kokhba revolt in 130, 134, the Jewish people were dispersed. But there was always a Jewish presence here over that 2,000-year period, even before 1948.
You know, Jews always lived there. The question is, where? You know, at certain times, the Jews were here along the years, but they weren't in control of the land. And the land was deserted. And we know there are prophets that say that when the Jews come back to the land, it would start blossoming. And you see how when the early Zionist pioneers start coming here, suddenly something's waking up here. And after centuries of there's nothing here, suddenly the place is flourishing.
What an amazing place. Up next, we're staying in the Golan Heights and bringing it to the modern day as we talk to a top Israeli government official about the barbarians at the gates. Stick around.
In the Bible, God calls on believers to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Now you can celebrate your role as a watchman on the walls of God's chosen city with this special one-of-a-kind bracelet. Designed and crafted exclusively for Kufi by Ethiopian Jews who immigrated to Israel, this stunning bracelet symbolizes the biblical mandate to stand in defense of Jerusalem and raise your voice for Zion's sake. In honor of Israel's 72nd anniversary, for your gift of $72 or more, we'll send you this eye-catching Medja Maria bracelet that showcases your love for Israel and its eternal capital, Jerusalem. This exclusive Made in Israel bracelet is available while supplies last. So visit www.kufi.org/bracelet to receive yours today.
It all begins with words.
And welcome back. For years, Zaki Hanegbi has played important roles in Israel's government and been a close ally of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He knows the importance of the Golan Heights better than anyone, and he joined us there recently to tell us why this region is so crucial to Israel's security and history. Take a look. Well, Minister Hanegbi, thanks so much for joining us here on the beautiful Golan Heights.
Well, it's not only a holy land, it's also a gorgeous land.
It truly is.
This is one of the most beautiful places in Israel, for me, in the world.
Yeah, just look at this place, Minister. And the Jewish people have a presence in the Golan Heights going back thousands of years. Tell us about the Jewish presence here and the attachment to the Golan Heights.
More than 3,000 years. And this is where our roots, our heritage, our prophets, our kings, our prayers, everything that we owe our Jewish life to is coming from many, many places in the Jewish land, but this is one of them. One of the most important places. You can find here, I would say, 24 synagogues, and we dig in, try to bring our history back to life.
Yeah, it's amazing to see. This was part of the Promised Land and still part of Israel today. Of course, President Trump, the U.S. President, March 2019, recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Tell us why that was so important.
Well, it was one of the happiest days of my life. I'm connected to the Golan Heights. This is where I first was introduced to a girl from Florida, now my wife. It happened here in the Golan Heights.
Wow.
And but not on a personal level, but on a national level, this was a very glorious day, because for the first time, the leader of the superpower in the world realizes how crucial the Golan Heights is for the very existence of the Jewish state, and recognized it and made it a part of our reality.
It's a mountainous region, the Golan. It borders Syria, one of the most chaotic places on earth. But when you have the Golan from a security perspective, it seems that you have the high ground, right? You think of the 1967, 1973 battles that were fought up here between Israel and Syria. Controlling the Golan just seems like a strategic benefit for Israel.
Yes, it's a necessity. It's a crucial strategic advantage over enemies that are still we share our demise. And you mentioned the 1973 war, the Yom Kippur War. 177 Israeli tanks were able to challenge 1,500 Syrian tanks, and were able to hold them for several days till we brought all our army in and won this war. And this is only because of the geography, the topography, and of course the Israeli spirit. You know, they say in the Bible, Prophet Jeremiah quoted the Lord saying that out of the north an evil shall break forth upon all the inhabitants of the land. And this is not only a virtual prophecy, this is our strategic reality. The enemies that wish our disappearance will come from the north. So we have to stay here, hold on to this land, and make sure that if it happens, if we won't be able to deter them, we will be able to win over them. Around 200 times already in the last 3 years, we attacked Iranian infrastructure, military infrastructure in Syria, because we are not going to allow them to entrench militarily.
Now let's talk about industry here and economics in the Golan Heights. How important is it for Israel to build up this region?
I'm proud to be a part of an Israeli government that is committed not only to hold on to the Golan, but to make sure it becomes inevitable part of the life in Israel. Agriculture, industry, tourism, winery. There's so many opportunities, and we need to invest money here to bring more and more people to settle in, to bring their children in, and this is our commitment. First of all, I would love to be here because I love to ski, and that's the only place in Israel where you have a ski resort on the mountain Hermon. And not only the ski, there are beautiful waterfalls, there are amazing wineries that you just enjoy smelling, and I can't even describe how beautiful this area is.
Thanks again to Minister Zaki Hanegbi for joining us. Well, coming up after the break, the world has a severe protein shortage, and one Israeli company has a unique way to solve this problem: grasshoppers. You will not want to miss this, folks, after the break as I expand my palette. See what I mean? Coming up.
The rebirth of modern Israel is one of the greatest miracles in history. Despite centuries of tragedies and abuses, the Jewish people are once again thriving in their ancient and ancestral homeland. Kufai's new ebook, Israel, 70 Years of Miracles, shows how God's destiny for Israel has been woven throughout her history, and how Christians are serving a divine purpose in blessing and defending His land. This free ebook is an invaluable resource that lays out Israel's remarkable story of resilience and how Christians can be a part of this modern-day miracle of God. Visit www.kufai.org/ebook to receive your free ebook today, and join Kufai to add your voice to a movement of over 8 million Christians speaking out for Zion's sake.
Today, we are seeing the rise of an old enemy wearing a new mask. Once, anti-Semitism was displayed by those in white hoods or wearing the twisted cross of the swastika. But today, this old hatred hides in plain sight. Only a decade ago, anti-Semites were shunned and despised. Now, this appalling bigotry has a platform on Twitter and is applauded in the public square. Anti-Semites rail against Israel on our college campuses. They break bread with elected officials. CUFI was built for such a time as this. We will not let this darkness dim our light, for Christians are a light unto the world, and Israel is a light unto the nations. So shine bright. Shine the light on anti-Semitism that hides in plain sight, from churches to college campuses, from state capitals to Congress. We at Christians United for Israel seek to be a light in the darkness. As light conquers darkness, so shall we conquer this anti-Semitic scourge. Join us. Don't curse the darkness. Shine the light.
And welcome back. As if battling a global pandemic weren't enough, the world is also facing a severe protein shortage. Now one Israeli food tech company based in the Golan Heights has a groundbreaking solution to this problem: grasshoppers. And there is a biblical link. Take a look.
Roar Hadi, we are here on the beautiful Golan Heights where some of the most groundbreaking food tech in the world is happening right here, and coming from an unlikely source for some people. Where are we right now, and what are we going to see today?
You just entered the world's first commercial grasshopper farm, and that's the future of protein because it's healthier for humans and it's more sustainable to grow. And we're about to see how we grow them and maybe even have a taste.
Each room like this has about 70 cages of grasshoppers. You can be up 1,000 grasshoppers in one cage. That's a lot of grasshoppers. So this is part of the magic, Eric. This is actually wheatgrass. Wow. All right, we grow it ourselves in another place, and this is actually the food of the grasshoppers. They eat it, they grow very healthy and very rapidly. All right, they eat a lot of it.
Yeah.
And this is part of our magic.
And you may say that actually the grasshoppers eat superfood.
Correct.
And you can taste it, by the way.
Yeah, you can. Okay. A lot of people use it in their green shakes in the morning or protein shakes.
We will do that. Now,
can I pull my mask down
for a second? Taste this. Okay, here we go.
Go for it. It's good for the grasshoppers, it's good for us. No?
Very good. The grasshoppers have good taste. Excellent. Before we go on, the first question I have to ask is, why grasshoppers? A lot of people at home might be saying, grasshoppers, oh my gosh, that's edible. Why grasshoppers? How did you discover this?
Well, actually, the story started about 40 years ago. I was born in a kibbutz in Israel. And as a young boy at the kibbutz, my grandparents used to tell me stories from the 1950s. Israel used to suffer from locust swarms, grasshoppers flying in and eating all the crops. They used to run to the fields, trying to scare the grasshoppers away. Wow. At the same time, they saw other Yemenite and Moroccan Jews coming and collecting tons of grasshoppers and eating them. So as a young boy, I learned that grasshoppers are both food and they are kosher.
Wow.
So
they're kosher.
Yes.
They're a very clean insect, right?
Absolutely. The cleanest. They eat only fresh grass with no pesticides, no fertilizer, so it's super clean. Already today, 2.5 billion people across the world consume grasshoppers as part of their diet. So they are very high in demand across Africa, Asia, and Central America. Yeah. The problem is that today the supply comes from collection in the wild. Okay. So availability is very limited to about 4-6 weeks a year. Yeah. Prices are very high. In this facility, we can grow them year-round at a much more efficient way.
This insect is 70% protein, one of the highest protein count in nature, especially in insects. And two, these guys can live in 1 million individuals in one place, meaning it's called a swarm. From all the grasshoppers family, there's only 7 species that does this, which we call locust, or arbe in Hebrew. That's what we call it. So basically, this is a locust. The species is migratory locust, all right, Locusta migratoria, and because they swarm, they are ideal for intensive farming. meaning as much as you crowd them more,
Okay.
they're more resistant to disease, et cetera, et cetera.
So the more the better.
Correct.
People at home might be watching right now and saying, grasshoppers, how can you eat grasshoppers? Number one, they are not alive when you eat them. And number two, hey, John the Baptist in the New Testament, in the Bible, we know that he ate locusts and wild honey.
Really?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also in the Bible.
Yeah.
Because on Leviticus they are mentioned as kosher food. That's the only insect that is recognized as kosher. I will tell you that it's also a matter of sustainability, because today 25% of greenhouse gas emissions around the world come from the meat industry. Grasshoppers, while producing them, reduce gas emissions by 98.8%. They also reduce water waste by 1,000 times and arable land usage by 1,500 times. So this is a very efficient animal to grow.
Well, gentlemen, this is a big moment for me and for everybody at home. We are going to eat grasshoppers. We're going to do it. Dror, what do we have here?
We'll start with the biblical way, because in the Bible they ate them as a whole. So these are whole, dried, ready-to-eat grasshoppers, and you can eat the whole thing.
Well, let's
Now,
see.
let me just show you. This is a package with 4,000 grasshoppers. That's about 1 kilogram, 2 pounds of grasshoppers, ready for shipment to restaurants in Europe.
Wow.
Now we have a chance to actually eat them.
Okay.
We can do two things. First,
All right.
you can eat the whole thing, but I suggest you remove the wings because they get stuck in your teeth. And I'll
We
teach
don't
you
want that.
exactly, and I'll teach you how to pray before you eat them.
Very important.
Absolutely.
Prayer before my meal.
Yeah. So
Okay.
please repeat. You can just throw it that away.
Okay.
Just repeat after me.
Okay.
Shehakol
Shakol.
nihia
Nahia.
bidvaro.
Bidvalo.
Everything is done by God's voice.
Amen.
Amen.
Here it goes.
What do you think?
It's good.
Does it taste like a bug?
No, not at all.
Exactly.
No.
It's food.
It's food.
The healthiest protein you ever had.
This is good.
Yeah.
And protein after you exercise, after you work out, is also a good thing. I'm not kidding. It's not bad.
These are gummies. This is a nutritional supplement, gummies made of grasshoppers with honey. So what we're eating here is a very healthy product that John the Baptist used to eat. This is John the Baptist diet.
Wow. It's a
And-
biblical food. John
Exactly.
the Baptist, locusts and honey, grasshoppers and honey.
And tell me if you can feel the grasshopper inside. Because that's one of the advantages grasshoppers
No,
have.
this is a
no,
gummy.
taste
Okay.
it. Can you taste it?
Of course.
Texture, flavor, smell.
Tastes like a gummy. It tastes great.
Exactly.
Yeah, give me another
Honey
one.
flavored.
Folks, if I'm going for seconds, you know it's good. Drew, this is important. You were telling me Pepsi, IKEA, the Seattle Mariners, all incorporating grasshoppers into their products.
Well, insects in general, some of them do use grasshoppers, and since they need neutral taste and flavor, grasshoppers are the solution for them.
So Pepsi and Doritos,
IKEA replacing the meatballs from beef to insects.
and the Seattle Mariners baseball team,
They serve the whole insects as a snack at the ballpark.
and it's doing quite well.
It's sold out for 3 years.
It's catching on in America. In America, amazing.
So since IKEA are doing meatballs, we are doing sausages with grasshopper protein.
Okay.
So those are the sausages.
Wow.
It's a combination of beef and grasshopper protein, and we can fire up the grill.
Folks, you don't get to be 6'5" without eating lots of different foods.
I'm gonna grow your hair.
Yes.
Here you go.
Just put
you
hair
told
on
me
my
that.
chest, as
Go,
they say.
Dror.
Okay,
like
guys, bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Amen.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
To the grasshoppers.
Pretty good, huh?
That's delicious.
And that's
I'm not
beef
kidding.
with the grasshoppers, so we get much more protein than a normal sausage.
That is very
That's
good.
healthier
good.
for you,
Wow,
more sustainable.
this is very good.
My guess is John the Baptist used to eat a lot of those.
Dror, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hadi,
Thank you very much. Pleasure having you.
Israeli innovation, groundbreaking, happening right here in the Golan Heights. Amazing to see. Gentlemen, thank you.
Incredible. Folks, I was blown away by the vision and passion of the team at Hargol Food Tech. Israel is changing the world through companies like this. You see the link there on your screen, so be sure to join our team at Christians United for Israel for the premier pro-Israel event in the United States every single year. And hey, you can do it from the comfort of your living room because we will be coming to you online this year with our QAEDA Virtual Summit. So check that out. Be sure to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hey, during these difficult times, hang in there because the God of Israel will never leave you or forsake you. Until next time, God bless you from the Watchman team, and remember,